everybody, this is Purge, doing a replay coaching, signed up by Sean. Okay, Sean, based on what you filled out, your current MMR is 29 to 3,000, which is pretty good, above average. Your friend has been trying to get you to stay above 3 MMR, but has been fluctuating. Okay, so this is actually for your friend, I guess. Focuses on playing support while occasionally playing a core. He enjoys support and will watch your videos, study his replays, and use Dota Buff and Open Dota to look over stats, try to improve performance. Whatever advice I can give him so that he'll be a better support. Okay, and the newer ones that we submitted. So you think the problems he has is when to roam to gank aggressively versus defensively, which I assume means sit in the tri lane. When to make the call to take objective. Sometimes the calls are too risky when we trade a tier 2 for half a tier 3, and when to smoke. You guys play a 4 to 5 stack often. He's worked hard to fill the 5 position support. We need someone to set up plays. He's working towards that. If that's not enough information, let me know. I'll watch the games in detail tonight and get back to you. Okay, first game is the Shadow Shun one, I believe. Let me just check this is the right one. 41578. Yeah, this is it. So this will be the first one. Okay, most of what probably needs to get solved in his play is, I feel like most 3K players aren't very good at setting up ganks in the late game and moving around. Shadow Shaman is very good at that, so he has the capabilities certainly. So we just have to make sure that he does that part correctly. So that's probably what we'll focus on in addition to how the laning stage goes. Player perspective, oh god, okay. There we go. Alright, so looks like you got Courier, 1 Observer War, 2 sets of Tangos. I love his starting items, these are completely fine. Nothing to complain about here. He bought his items right away. Splitting off towards the safe lane. We got Flying Courier, Windlace. Yeah, these are all pretty solid. Like his starting items, it's clear that he watches games a decent amount. These heroes are a little bit troublesome, kind of difficult to gank. Oh, looks like Axe is coming. I wouldn't put an Observer Ward there. I feel that Observer Ward doesn't solve that much. It does maybe spot where Axe is going. I feel like if you're going to ward against an Axe who's maybe roaming, I'd either put in the lane to see when he's here, or I'd maybe go try to ward by the shrine, perhaps. I feel like this one doesn't cover you that much. Doesn't really... I mean, if you have a jungling Doom, maybe it'll spot when he's going to pressure Doom, but I'd prefer that you have a ward in lane. I think that's superior. So, get a layout for what the lane is. Looks like it is just a Pugna. This is good. He's doing a good job. He missed one attack there, but as a whole, this is good. Ooh, I think he had this... Okay. A small mistake here. So let's go back, and I'm just going to go through every one of the mistakes he made. This is good. This would have been a moment to use Aethershock, if needed. I like that he waited for the skill point, though, especially when it got to trading here. So you canceled an attack, obviously. He also backed up a little bit, which I think was maybe a mistake. You had another cancel attack. I would have attacked one more time before throwing the attack, because you did get the kill, but it was very, very close. I am sure that he was very close to living. And generally when you're going to use your second Aethershock, which I think is definitely the moment of surprise for him. Like right here, he had 142. You nuke him and he's down to 47. I think it would have been better if you attacked him just one more time and then throw the nuke. Because he's got boots and he has way less HP than you, so I think that was very close. Oh god, where's the log? Does that exist anymore? Guess that button's gone. I don't know where it is. Either way, you got first blood, which is really good. I would instantly pop Clarity, go grab Boots' speed, unless you're going to pull, which is also very good. Alright, this is perfect. Early game is fantastic so far. I think it's a huge mistake to not use the Clarity right away, though, because you're missing a decent amount of mana, 160 or so, and by the time that this guy gets back, you would have at least gone through like 25% of the Clarity potion. So I think it would have been better to start it right away. Also, you definitely should have connected. I don't think doing a single pull here is really that good of an idea. You're actually super late for the connect. If you had connected this, then I would be super happy with how that went. And this guy actually saved your pull because he attacked you, which aggroed the creeps. So ultimately, it kind of worked out for your favor a bit. Just focus on killing this. Yep, this is great. Skill build is great. This would have been a really good time to shackle him, actually, because he was low enough. You can 100% kill this guy, actually. I don't know why this guy should be rotating over. Also, if you had just a little bit more mana, you could certainly get this kill. Because between these two skills, you have 260 magic damage. He only has a little bit more HP than that. I would honestly attack him right here. This guy should be dead. Like, Bloodseeker should be rotating over right now. You should just kill this guy. He's 100% dead right now. You might kill him by yourself. Like, if you had just a little bit more mana. Oh, why are you running? Why'd you run away? This is such a kill. Also, if you had bought boots after getting the first blood, you'd have even more advantage here because you'd have the same movement speed as this guy. Like, this guy has literally 100 HP. There is no way that you don't commit to this. The fact that you ran all the way down here to eat the tree was a huge loss. You might... Yeah, he's gonna sell now. All you had to do is follow him for 5 mana and then use Shackles and maybe get one more right click. So it was a pretty big mistake. And again, if you would have used Clarity Potion earlier, this problem wouldn't have been there either. Or if the Bloodseeker rotated over. This is a huge misplay by the two of you guys together. Like, communicate, especially because Bloodseeker's pretty fast, communicate with this guy to try to get him to help out. And massive mistake to not buy boots. Like, as soon as you get a first blood, use that as your advantage. Like, to get mobility advantage over your opponent. Like, you don't have to wait until you can get the upgrade courier, for example. Like, you should be focusing on making your hero really strong too. And I think you're maybe being too static in the jungle area when you could have also done a mix of participating in the lane. Like, you're basically standing over here whenever there's nothing to do. When I think there's times where you could move over, impact them, like maybe try to get a kill or try to help out, and then go back to pulling. I think there's certainly times when you can make that. Not sure how many of these you're getting. Got quite a few. I would go on the axe right here. Oh, this is... Slight mistake. It's not that bad because there's... Alright, you should nuke him. Oh wait, there's the... Oh, this is actually okay. Alright, that was a little close. I think that was okay. Yeah, I think Shackles, using Shackles over Aethershock was a smart idea. Because it bought you time under tower. That was good. I like that play. Oh, so you're playing completely fine. The only mistake you have made is you still haven't bought brown boots. I don't know why you don't have boots yet. Yeah, you guys should hit up the shrine together. I don't know why you're not. That would have been a reasonable idea. I don't know. Was it not available or something? That's like the only explanation. Yeah, not available. So, should have had boots from the start. You got an advantage from killing the offlane hero, and then you didn't use that to get extra advantage. This guy's gonna die maybe. Oh, that was not the right time to blood rage. Alright, now you super messed up. Because now you killed... He needs the last set of creep. You shouldn't have killed the other ones. Alright, this is probably the worst skill of the 3 that you could have used there. Because it does no damage. I think it also might have been worth it for you just to go back to base. Because now you guys are playing like super defensive because you have no HP. When during this whole time you could have just been off doing something. Or you could have just gone back and healed and came back to lane. Because now you guys have no lane presence because you're missing so much HP that you don't feel comfortable actually fighting. And I certainly would have used another spell by now. And you 100% should have shackled this guy earlier. Like when he was under tower, that was the time to shackle. So let's look at this slow again. So probably, at the very least here, was exactly, after this call ended, this is the time to shackle instantly. Just shackle right here. It's a little dangerous because the tower is attacking him or whatever, but it's going to happen. He got a little unlucky that he didn't spin there, but you should have hit up the base a long time ago. And you still should. I don't know why our bounty rune to base is fine, I guess. Yeah, okay, that's fine then. This is fine. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know. I'm not super sold on that. Again, same problem. This is not a place where the ward helps you very much. That's now 2 wards in that area that actually haven't helped you in the slightest. The only help that it gave you is the one time that you saw the axe getting the arcane rune, I think, is maybe the only help that it's given you. Like, that's basically 2 wards you've completely wasted that have done almost nothing. And TPing to lane a little bit early here, I think that was overkill. You're also buying a magic wand first thing after your Windlace Raindrop. I'm glad that you got Windlace Raindrop, but I don't think you need a wand first. You need an Arcane Boots ASAP. That's one of the big mistakes that some Shadow Shaman players make, is that they don't get the Arcane Boots as fast as possible. You have to get this, because once you get it, you can spam Aethershocks, and because you can spam Aethershocks, you can lane better, you can harass better, and you can get towards your Mass Serpent wards faster. But the more that you delay it, even for a little team fight item like a wand, it's not worth it. The only heroes that this is okay on are heroes that don't need arcanes that bad. Like Witch Doctor, for example, can get by without having arcanes because Witch Doctor doesn't need to spam cask every like 8 seconds. But a Shadow Shaman can cast Extra Shock every 8 seconds, so you really need the mana pool. So because of that difference, I think you're making a big mistake here, not going straight for Arcane Boots. It's putting you in a bad spot. So watch this again from your perspective and see what you could see. Alright, so you definitely saw that he was there, which means that you should have probably gotten ready to go for this. You should have nuked and shackled him here instead, although this guy doesn't even have mana, so you approaching for a gank like this is not realistic anyways. You probably should have just approached and put a ward down. Like at this point, as soon as you TP to the top lane like this, you should have just left the lane, because that guy actually wasn't going to be able to contribute. So now you've wasted a bunch of minutes here, just coming to the top lane. Like your intentions for TPing were okay, but you TP'd too early. You should have waited at least until Anti-Mage got to here to know that he was diving. And because now you came to the top lane, you're missing HP. And this guy has no HP and mana anyway, so he can't even contribute. If he did have at least enough to do like an ult combo, yeah, absolutely, you can get a kill. But that opportunity isn't there for you now. So now you're just kind of wasting your time. And again, the first like 400 gold you had after Windlace Infused Raindrop went into an Arcanes. And in some ways, I would have preferred actually if you just got boots instantly from the first blood, and then you just saved your money, with the exception of getting, I think getting the Flying Courier is obviously fine. But maybe even just delay the Infused Windlace until you have Arcanes, because this is already like 500 gold. It's like 500 gold right here. That's 5/9 of a Arcane Boots that you could have had. In some ways, buying those items early is actually bad on this hero. You're definitely dead now. This was a nice little gank by them. But like, you offlane is not really a good move. Like, what you should be doing is getting a fast 6 and then trying to pressure towers. And just because you TP'd top to defend the Timber doesn't mean you have to stay here. Like, you staying that long is just screwing you over, when it's really about you need to be efficient. So now you're coming to the top lane again, which I think this one's better because Timber's still here. I would not have used my nuke like that. I think that was a mistake. But that's overall okay. That guy's going to die. You can Clarity Potion here. I don't think you need to stay in the lane anymore. I think you're trying to Clarity him, but you should be more concerned about yourself, I think. And this is a perfect example of why. If you are doing this, nuking a wave, you shouldn't be not getting the range creep, by the way. Anticipate that you're not going to one-shot the range creep, and attack it first before you use your nuke. Or nuke and then attack the range creep would have been better as well. Because right now you're basically prioritizing trying to get levels and maybe Arcane Boots, but without Arcanes you're just honestly such a weaker hero. You even have a decent creep wave, or a decent ward vision, so what you should do is probably just walk up and nuke it. Like, that's the easiest thing that Shadow Shaman could do, and the best way for him to farm. Go to a lane where there's not that much threat, and just nuke the wave. So if you just like approach this and attack the range creep once and nuke it, the whole creep wave is basically dead, and it pushes under tower, and then Anti-Mage has to last it here. And then anybody that wants to swing around is probably going to have to run by your Observer Ward to do so. But you're playing a little bit too safe here. I would also farm this maybe. Like, you basically just walked all the way from the lane where there was like 3 creeps just to grab a bounty rune that probably gave you like 60 gold in experience, when instead you could just nuke this, get at least 2 last hits with a nuke, which gives you like 80 gold, and it would give you probably about 120 experience. That would have been way better than you walking back to get a Clarity Potion. And now you're TPing mid to try to help out against Storm. It's like your movements the last like 4 minutes have just been really haphazard. So I would say your laning was pretty darn good. Like, very, very good, honestly, for a 3k player. The only mistake you made, you needed to connect the pull a little bit more and buy your boots right away was the big mistakes. But the items that you're buying categorically mid-game are really good. They're definitely above your level, but the major mistake you made was fast energy booster. And since like the 6-minute mark, once you got out of your safe lane vibe of knowing what to do in the safe lane, then you needed to transition that either into effective ganking or effective time usage. But you turned your early game, which was really good, into this really crap mid-game, and now you're basically at even right now, because you're level 6 around 10 minutes, and even then it was kind of slow. So what you need to fix is, if you do a TP support like coming up for Timber here, ditch the lane if there's nothing you can do. If this guy doesn't have HP or mana, approach, put an Observer Ward down, and get the hell out of there and go do something else. But you haven't really, like, even these 2 items I feel like haven't been that beneficial. Like, Windlace is good if you move around the map, basically. Infused Raindrop is kind of good for similar reasons, but you needed to prioritize you farming a little bit more and you getting levels a little bit more. Like, this is maybe going to be your first attempt at a Mass Serpent Ward, but you could have done this at like 8 minutes with the start that you had. You should also be attacking the tower here, I feel. Okay, so you got the tower, which is really good. I would just nuke this personally. And now you just need to go get arcanes, of course. That should be your move. Go straight to arcanes. Okay, great. Bringing arcanes to your timber, which is great. I think this smoke was unneeded. If your team is already here, one more person running up with smoke is not going to make a big difference. And it ended up not being a difference. Smokes are basically good for approaching a mid lane where you think they might have an observer ward, basically. So you approaching in that way wasn't really that needed. Observer wards, I also think Shadow Shaman is not a very good 5. I think you're better off playing like a 4-ish position, but it's okay, I guess. This guy needs to TP like 20 minutes ago. I don't know why he took so long. It's now the... Oh, actually. See where you're at. I don't know where you've been running this whole time. I'm gonna go back. So you got the side shop, but I guess there's a lot of heroes over there. Okay, I guess it's fine that you wrapped around. Okay, so you were just, honestly, I think you made the right choice. It just kind of sucks. Huge waste of the Hex there, just nuke that guy. He was low enough to kill, and he also doesn't need to be disabled because all it's going to change is that he can't right-click because he's doomed. All that guy can do is run and right-click. And by hexing, all you did was lower his movement speed and prevent him from attacking. And you've already burned through 100 mana. Just nuke that guy, he dies instantly. And then you could have hexed this guy here. You're going to shackle him, and he's still going to die because he has no mana or whatever, but that could have just been like 110 mana already wasted, 100%. And now I would just prioritize, like, this should be like the last support items you buy for now. Alright, you're making a giant mistake now. A pipe is not what you need a Blink Dagger. Because with Blink Dagger, then you can gank any hero, namely Anti-Mage and Storm. You can initiate on them and guarantee that they die, is what you should be doing. Like, a hero, again, this is like the 3rd time now you put a ward here, and I'm pretty sure all 3 have been wasted. They haven't done anything. Look at basically how strong your team is. And this is what you should be doing at this point in the game. Like, clearly this is the spot you like warding, but your team is very aggressive. You have lots of solutions to their heroes. You've got pure damage. You've got lockdown for either of these two. Meepo is very good early. Bloodseeker is good early as a carry. You're pretty strong now. What you should be doing is warding on their side of the map. Like, they have 0 tier 1 towers, and I guarantee you guys have a gold advantage. You do, by far. And I guarantee you have an experience advantage. You do. So what you should do is place the wards places where it's going to spot your opponents, and it'll allow you to gank. Like, just by putting a ward deep over here or in places that they're farming, you're going to see where they are, and some of your allies might be like, oh, I can kill that, and then they'll move over and get a kill maybe. But by putting a ward here, all this spots is if they're going to cross into your jungle. And these guys are not going to do that this game because you are winning right now. So putting an observer right there, it counts for the 3rd time that you've wasted an observer ward now. Just doesn't, your wards honestly aren't accomplishing anything. You could, a better move would be to walk over here and put a ward on this cliff, for example, because you guys are going to push this tower very soon. Or maybe try to sneak all the way over here and put a ward here. That way you could see, once this tower dies, that you'll be ready to take the next tower. But right now your vision doesn't actually accomplish anything in the slightest. It's not very useful. So let's see how you approach this again. You got your Bloodseeker up here. First of all, you're late. You guys should be moving over here together. That way you can get a wraparound in case somebody shows up. If this guy's HP is low, you should just nuke him instantly. You waited way too long. You also walked forward just to auto attack. That's not worth it. Like, Shadow Shaman has tons of nuke damage with Ether Shock. Just nuke this guy. Every fight should be you coming forward and nuking somebody. But you attacking him, not worth it. Or what you should do instead is run to the trees to the side, put a ward down to see if there's anybody behind. And unfortunately, you weren't able to catch the Pugna. This ward is actually a little bit worse now than it was a moment ago. This ward's better for helping to take the tier 1 tower. This ward is better for helping to take the tier 2 tower. So because the ward was already dead, or the tower's already dead, it's kind of a waste for you to put a ward here. It's better, it's so much better than this ward, but technically I would prefer if you would have ran this way, put a ward here, and then wrap from the left to try to catch this Pugna while your team stayed. I think that would have been a much better move. And buying a hood is certainly not what you need. You do not need hood on Shadow Shaman. That's like one of the silliest items I've heard of. And that's because pure damage, pretty much all physical damage. This guy does a lot of magic by all means. And this guy does magic, but the solutions is for you to just go first and disable him or the anti-mage. Yeah, it's going to stop Pugna damage and like Nether Ward and stuff like that, but you shouldn't be the one that has to buy these kind of items. This is where the line between 5 position and playing your hero correctly blends, and you're sticking to 5 position. You're thinking, I'm 5, I should do this. What you should be doing is you should still prioritize Blink, and you should still prioritize wards. You shouldn't think like, I need defensive items to make my team stronger. What basically needs to happen is one of your team, your cores either need to buy BKBs, You also mess this little gank up. Your team either needs, your cores need to buy BKBs, or somebody else needs to buy the pipe, because you can't afford it. It's way too expensive, and it does like literally nothing for your hero. You don't have a lot of HP. Your strength in is just okay at most. Like, you having high magic resistance does not make you safer. Also, when you hex this guy, you should Aethershock before you use your shackle. You waited way too long to shackle here. It just should have been like hex, Aethershock, shackle. That would have been far superior. This guy's probably dead, yes. I would nuke that guy and maybe shackle. You're taking way too long to do stuff, basically. So let's look again how that could have gone. Like, number one priority is get your Aethershock on cooldown, because that means you're going to have another nuke ready. You had a... Okay, here's where Storm was hexable. Right here, throw an Aethershock, it might actually hit both. And then just by doing that, Storm's HP goes down massively. But you guys, I feel like part of the reason you guys never went on the Storm was because you just didn't feel safe doing it. Because he had full HP, so you're like, let's not use it on him. But I guarantee that if you Aethershocked this Storm right here, and you shackled 1 second later, I guarantee that the Doom would have doomed him. He had Doom up in 1 second. Which guarantees basically that Storm dies, because at that point you're going to get another Aethershock off as well. But instead what you did was you placed wards on the high ground. And now at this point Doom's like, I don't know if I should go in. These guys all have full HP. I've got Doom ready, but I don't do that much damage. So he's like unsure about even if he should go in. So you just got to start the fight. Throw the nuke out. You've got tons of mana. Get the damage done. And ultimately you put some damage into the axe here, and the axe is going to die. But that could have been the Storm and the axe. Guaranteed. This would be a decent moment to probably... I don't know, I'm sure he wants to Doom the Storm instead, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch up, so... Just use your skills, basically. Now you're buying Cloak, but now you're just going to have tons of mobility problems, basically. You're not going to be able to initiate, unless they're initiating on you, pretty much. Walking out from base at this point is a huge mistake, I think. If you do want to get wards done, the best time is when heroes are dead. So this is definitely a time where I would have most likely TP'd to the bot lane, pushed out 2 waves, and then gone somewhere else, most likely. Because just by pushing the waves, you're guaranteeing yourself farm, and you're making it hard for them to push. But instead, because you're walking across the whole map, it's taking you forever to get anything done, and I would have preferred if you just TP'd and pushed the wave twice. It's like Timbersaw took the wave instead, which is fine. But, like, now because the creep wave is by the tower, and the wave wasn't pushed, this guy's gonna, like, passively farm, but he's doing it kind of slow, and he gets ganked because of it. I don't know. I just feel like this is not accomplishing good things. Even killing the Netherward here, I think, is a mistake, most likely. And now there's creeps dying under the tower. If you just went to that lane and pushed it twice really, really fast and got out, then you're probably fine. I also do understand that... Well, that was a really nice call. I do also understand that going to that lane may have been your death, perhaps. Maybe the Storm would kill you. But, you know, this stuff happens sometimes. You're still buying Hood. The Hood's just honestly not going to keep you survivable. There's too much... I mean, there's a lot of magic damage. There's certainly a lot of magic damage, but mobility is so important on Shadow Shaman, because it guarantees you can instantly disable somebody with Hex. And catch up to people and shackle them afterwards. It's just too important. You're basically like running across the map to do 5 position stuff now, and you're not playing Shadow Shaman anymore. You basically stop playing Shadow Shaman around the 10-minute mark. And now it's taking you like eons to catch up, whereas if you had a Blink Dagger right here, for example, you would have been there a lot faster to initiate.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Like you've spent so much time running around the map trying to prep for like warding and dewarding and stuff and grabbing bounty runes, but you could have just played Shadow Shaman instead. Like TP to a lane, nuke it to clear a whole creep wave, nuke the next creep wave, then go somewhere else. And all of a sudden you farmed like 8 creeps, and you've pressured the map. And now it makes it harder for your opponents, for your allies to, or harder for your opponents to gank, basically. I would nuke this wave right now. You 100% need to nuke this wave. You did that really sloppy. It should just be a double nuke. I don't know what's going on with the courier, but... You could also be here with your team, but you mess around with the courier forever. Kind of the same repeat pattern here. All you're focused on is mostly warding and occasionally going to lanes, but not very effectively. And you still don't have your Hood yet. And at this point, like, look at the items that your opponents have. This guy's already got his Orchid finished. A Hood is not going to really keep you... I mean, it'll definitely help against Storm, but it's not going to be amazing. And he should technically be around his Bloodstone right now. He should have had Orchid like 4 minutes ago or something. And he should basically be getting into his next item. So once he gets his next item, then you're really screwed, because the Hood's definitely not going to save you against that. Whereas if you had Blink, you could be moving around ganking. And this is basically the issue. Your hero's not translating to the mid game, because you're still playing the I'm playing the first 10 minutes playstyle. Where if you had a Blink instead, you could be moving around the map, waiting, like planting aggressive wards, seeing when they're farming, and you could be comboing with heroes like Meepo, Timbersaw, Doom, or Bloodseeker. Like you plus any of those other 4 heroes as a dead hero consistently. But instead, you're running around the map putting wards down and doing like supporty things. Same thing, TP out to lane. Like you could be somewhere getting in a gank or setting up a kill, but you're not doing that right now. Like and which leads your team to basically be running around trying to get solo kills. But Dota's not a solo game. The easiest way to win games is for you to help your allies get kills. And if you're just there with them to set up the kills or to have wards in good positions to help spot those out, then the game changes. But the way that you're playing mid game is not in the slightest accomplishing that. You haven't really set up a gank all game. It's fine if you don't do it in the early game. To be honest, I don't think you need to, because your tri-laning skills are far better than the average 3k player. But your anticipate and set up a kill in the mid game needs to change. Especially if you're playing heroes like Shadow Shaman, because that is literally your hero's bread and butter. Push lanes, place aggressive wards, set up kills, and sometimes ward on towers is basically your goal. But instead you're running around here slowly, consistently. And now you basically have to suicide by casting all your spells because of the nether ward. And this guy's just going to kill you pretty much. Like, I don't know. If you just had Blink, everything changes. And yeah, that resisted a lot of the nether ward or whatever, but it's just not a big deal. You could just go really fast Arcane Boots into Blink and then start getting things done. So, for example of the warding that needs to be done. You're kind of just warding like common spots that give you insane vision, like really good ward spots for vision stuff. This one's okay, it'll spot people farming here or wrapping around this way or maybe walking this way, but what would be better, in my opinion, is spots like, I don't know, put a ward here so you can see them farming here or here, or you can place a ward over here so you can see people farming here or here. But you're basically just putting it on all the big common spots, but you need to alter a little bit, and it needs to be altered based on where you think people are going to farm. So what I want to do is go back to the moment where you respawned here and talk about what you should have done differently. So you just respawned, you basically ran out of the base. Your Timbersaw went to the top lane to, I don't know, die basically. Or Meepo, looks like Meepo is farming here. I thought maybe I went back way too far. Ah yes, this is the bot fight. I'm just going to super accelerate until we catch up. TP'd up here, this guy ends up dying. Like just, you're TPing way too much for like trying to help your allies. You run over here, you buy TP scroll, and you leave again. This is also not a good move. I know there's probably a lot of heroes here, and if we resume and go F1, they actually aren't. They all left to the bot lane. But pretty much what's happening is you're basically just warding and going places where your allies are to try to help. But instead, you're already top. I get that your ally died over here. Just go push the wave. Like, go up here and use Ether Shock. This should be 5 last hits. Actually, it's way more. It's 3 range creeps. That's a crap load of experience. That's a crap load of gold. Like, your levels should actually be semi-comparable to your top level, except for Meepo. Obviously, he's out of control because it's Meepo, but your level should be way higher. Like, you should be like level 12 right now, just because of pushing waves. Like, you could just go up here, nuke this whole wave, get 5, 6 last hits, and then leave. And by doing that, your wave is now pushing, which means your wave will be here. Which means that these camps are now pretty safe for you to farm. Because now you know that they're not going to cross the creep wave here very likely, and the only way that they would is if they have a ward over here to give vision to see if anybody else had entered the jungle. So just by pushing the wave, you would make the game safer for your team and give yourself farm. But instead, you walk all the way, you basically TP here, realize it's a mistake, walk all the way over here to buy a TP, even though you can't use one yet. Then you walk all the way back, and now you're on your way to your destination. So you basically just wasted a minute. Like, you 100% wasted a minute. Walking where? Somewhere else to put another observer ward down, which is repeatedly happening. This is the time you dewarded. This one, I understand, yeah, it's a little baity. Like, oh, he placed a ward, you knew it was there, your sentry died, but you could have came up here, pushed the wave, and then ran across the whole map to deward here. That would have been better than what you did. Because like this whole period of time that you TP to the top lane, all you've done is deward 1 ward. That's all you've accomplished. So until this fight happens, you've accomplished nothing. And to be honest, in this fight, you did almost nothing. All you did there was hex 1 guy. That was basically it. So now your contribution in the game is even kind of weak. Like, there's almost no cases where you shouldn't have a Blink Dagger. Lion is a lot different than Shadow Shaman for the fact that Shadow Shaman farms a lot faster because of Ether Shock being an 8-second cooldown. And doing more damage as well, because I think our spike only does like 260. And he also doesn't necessarily need Ether Shock to live if he gets ganked. This was a huge mistake though. Like this should have been nuked immediately and then ran top. Like just nuke waves all the time. Just all the time. Your whole team is basically just dead here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Like you're barely level 10 here, and you were level 9 when you TP'd here, and then ran top to get a TP and down. But if you just push lanes more often and get wards in aggressive places, like all you have to do is push the lane twice, run into the jungle, wrap around here, and go put a ward like right here, and then back off. And then now you have 2 more camps that you control and that they don't control, which means they should be getting less farm. And if they do decide to farm these camps, your observer ward should spot that. If they show up here and try to zone you out, then they should probably just you'll back up because you'll see them with the ward. And if you do that enough times, and you kind of do that across the whole map, you're just going to contain the whole map, and it's going to prevent your allies from getting ganked, and it's going to let you set up kills. But you haven't done a single point, like you haven't done a gank once since the early part of the game. So that's the issue pretty much. Your experience trajectory has just been terrible because you haven't actually accomplished anything, and you haven't really set up a gank in forever. And every single time you're always TPing to try to react to the ganks. But that's not how you should be playing Shadow Shaman. I think you should have maybe denied the Bloodseeker here. I would go up here, push this creep wave right now. I would have adjusted my body so that I would hit the range creep as well. There's no way that you should miss all 5 of those last hits though. That's a huge mistake. I would certainly nuke again. There's actually no reason for you to be by Roche. You don't need to be here. It's going to die without you. And instead you could have gotten another 4 creeps and then left. Actually, you don't have the mana for it, so I guess you're off the hook for that one. Ooh, double bounty that you missed. And now you're finishing your pipe, but again, the pipe doesn't do anything really for your hero. It's not very good.
Is under attack.
You're spending so much money on like observers and sentries and stuff, but
Radiant's middle tower
oh,
is
nuke
under
this wave.
attack.
You should have nuked this. Same thing. Somebody's fighting, TP, get there late every time. Nuke this wave. Look at all that gold. You can farm things too. Just because you're a 5 position support doesn't mean you're not allowed to farm. Like, you have 35 last hits, you should have way more than this. You should be like middle of the pack here, not on the bottom. Your hero farms incredibly fast. That's almost as embarrassing as this Veno that has literally 1 last hit. I actually can't even believe that. How is that even possible? I really don't know, man. It's a truly, truly bad impact. Alright, pushing mid lane. I would drop wards here probably. Alright, nuking and pushing is good. This would be a decent time to go high ground. I would wait. I think you should wait until the creeps spawn. Alright, I think you made a slight mistake here, because if you just waited until 1 more bit of experience, you would have gotten a level 2 Serpent Ward, which does 75% more damage. It does cost more mana, of course, but I think that would have been maybe worthwhile. It's hard to say. You're sitting pretty far back here, too. You should probably put a ward down. And now you guys are basically leaving, which is fine. Again, the issue was that you basically always have to be at the back of the fight, partially because you're slow, but also because you don't have a Blink Dagger. If you had a Blink Dagger, 100% this guy dies. I think, is this your ward? Let's take a look. Don't know if it was. Doesn't look like you had vision, but like again, Blink Dagger. You're constraining your hero to like one of the worst movement speeds in the game. He's 335, and basically your whole impact on this game is based on whether or not you can walk into people. But it really should just be Blink Dagger. Like all your items are so good, but then you buy pipe. I don't understand it. You're trying too hard to constrain like what you think the 5 position should be to the game, when you should think about constraining your hero to how it fits into your position. Like by all means, buy observers and sentries. But that's basically the extent of supporting that you should be doing. You could have initiated on this guy already. Like, the only reason that you're even going to get to go on this guy... Alright, you made a huge mistake here. I think it's okay you start with Shackles. But as soon as this guy blinks in, you need to Hex immediately. Because if he uses his ultimate, it interrupts your Shackles, and then this guy gets to blink or ball lightning away. So as soon as this guy blinked in, you needed to Hex him instantly to guarantee that he was stunned for 3.5. And because you popped your pipe, you ended up... not using Hex in time anyways. And you actually survived here. Okay, you made a huge mistake. You mostly survived because of the fact that you had pipe, because then his ultimate did very little damage, but at this point you need to walk away. I think you tried to hex him or something, but you're out of mana. He's still dead, but it wasn't actually very worth it because you guys are really far ahead in terms of gold. So if you guys are winning and you're dying, it's a huge loss actually. So pipe didn't really pay off. Also, anti-mage does mostly physical damage. I see you're getting an Aether Lens. It's a decent choice, but I think you could possibly get something better. I still think Blink would be superior. Running across the map. Looks like you're going to push out bottom. This is a good move considering that you need creeps there. Like, this is how you should deal with every creep wave, and you certainly should have gotten all that farm, in my opinion. Oh, you're level 12. You should have 2 points in Serpent Ward, I think. Unless you... maybe this is an accident, not sure. Like, this is one of those examples. Like, if you just had an Observer Ward, you should probably put sentries. I think, first of all, you're buying way too many sentries this game. Every pair of sentries you buy is 200 gold, and you're basically just buying them all the time, probably because you're in support repetition. But you got to look at what items your opponents have. Oh, there actually is a Shadow Blade on the Venom, but with that said, you're not even using them. You're pretty much only sentrying to check for cliff wards, and with that said, you didn't even put a cliff ward down. Like, you could have sentryed this. They had vision. They have a ward on the map here. But you should just try it. Like, put a sentry down. If you're going to put a sentry down, use it. If you're going to buy sentries, use it is my point. Yeah, you have to put on the cliff because you need vision. Just put on the cliff. Deward the ward, deward the sentry, especially when you're hitting like a shrine like this on enemy territory when you have dead heroes. That's just suicidal that you even accomplish this without a blink. And then if they don't have vision and you have a ward here and you see the storm coming and you have a blink dagger, you can just blink away. And that solves most of your problems anyways. But again, pipe did pretty much nothing to keep you alive there. 3,500 gold item, and it does almost nothing to make your hero better. This is why your KDA is not so good. Every death is a lot of gold for your opponents. That's a good, like, I don't know, 900 gold that I think you gave them so far. You're going to buy Aether Lens and whatever, and that's good, but just think mobility is so much more important when you're playing Shadow Shaman. Someone needs to deny Meepo here. Oh, he might actually live. Okay. Lay down the sentries. Cast a spell or something? That was weird. Pipe obviously gonna be very good against the Venomancer, but you can always buy that after the blink. If you went like blink into Hood, I'd be like, okay, well, that's fine. But the fact that you didn't get a blink at all is just not okay about it. Don't you already have mid-rex? Yeah, you do. Observe ward down, drop the wards, you need a pair of sentries here. Or it's just dead. That's fine. If you had one, actually maybe not. Yeah, this actually drained the crap out of you. Yeah, this is basically... Questions, are you going to drop your arcane boots or get new ones? Oh, you should really... I mean, obviously you should have gotten a blink here, but if you're going to buy it, you might as well bring the items with. It's another example of you playing way too safer. And the reason you have to play safe is because you don't have a blink. Instead, you could walk forward, nuke the creep wave, and that should have been the range creep as well, by the way. Nuke the creep wave and blink back could have been an option. Part of the reason you probably feel like you never have time to put observer wards down. One reason is because you're never moving aggressively, so you don't feel like you have opportunity. The other reason is because you don't have blink dagger, so your movement speed is really limited. Like, this is not deep enough. You should be placing wards like somewhere here, but you're playing scared consistently because you don't understand the strength of your hero. Like, again, observe ward. This is not an appropriate place. This is a sentry actually. It looks like, in which case that's fine. I think that's a good place for a sentry. This is fine too because it spots the Veno. But your observer wards are not protecting you guys. You do not need wards in the middle of the map. These are both unnecessary. Your wards should be directly around their base. That way you know exactly when they leave the base. And then when their lanes push, you just push the lanes out, and you always know where they are. Because if all of your lanes are always pushed about here, they can't cross the lanes unless they smoke. That's basically it. It's just impossible to get past without being spotted, basically. Should get every single one of these last hits. And you've gotten one of them. You actually got one last hit. That's not good. That was like 6 creeps, man. Your arcane boots are ready to go. Your Aether Lens is ready to go. Again, it's not worth it for your observer to be here. It should be here, surrounding their base. Ward based on if you guys are winning, based on the heroes you have, based on the positioning. You're playing way too scared. You don't need observer wards in front of your towers. You need observer wards right outside their base. Alright, this is a decent time to smoke. This ward is okay. I would have liked somebody with a quelling to kill that. Does Bloodseeker have one? No, it doesn't look like he does. In which case, I would just kill it. Yeah, this is fine. If you had Blink, you could get here faster, of course. Which you do not have. Here's, again, the same problem as usual. You initiate, but you're basically just dead right away because of no Blink Dagger. You're getting initiated on, and then you just die, and that's always pretty much going to happen for the rest of the game. But it's 36 minutes in. You're gonna die to heroes like that. But if you had died less leading up until this point, if you had like 2 deaths right now, for example, you would just be so much safer. You'd be able to actually jump in, initiate, and like you could blink in, initiate, and then force staff out, for example, would be an option. Now you don't have boots, unfortunately. It's like you're trying to deal with Anti-Mage and Storm Spirit by using range advantage, when the real solution is using mobility in the early mid game from like the 15 to 20 minute mark before they have BKBs and Lincolns and crap to just like gank the shit out of them so that they don't even get items. That would be a superior way to play. But you're always dependent on them not seeing you as you walk forward at a stupidly slow movement speed. That is how your game is basically based. When instead you could just rely on having Blink Dagger range. And then getting an Aether Lens afterwards or something. You're also sitting in your base way too long here. You're probably scared because you're like, oh, I'm going to get ganked or something. But that you should be safe based on the wards that you had placed. And if you had mobility, you'd also be safer because then you could actually blink away if you saw danger coming. But instead, like look at all this time you're wasting. You could farm a camp. You could move up to behind the timber saw and start moving in the jungle and going to put up a ward down. But instead, you're just always sitting near your team. You're just wasting time. This has been like a minute and a half wasted. Again, same problem. Putting observer wards in places that don't really cover you that much. I mean, it's a little different now. The game's about even, I would guess. Yeah, the game's even now. They actually have a huge level advantage over you guys. But even still, if you had done all the observer stuff earlier and you had the right items and you died a little bit less, then you guys wouldn't even be in this place. You would actually be able to like regularly get kills. They just literally keep warding in the same spots repeatedly. It's actually crazy. With people putting wards that consistently in the same spot, I think you're fine to keep buying sentries. Just make sure you do actually use them. You're wasting your time right now. You should be setting up a kill somewhere. Instead of, you're consistently just standing on your side of the map, which means whenever the fights start, you're never in the right place. That's consistently the case. You're never there at the start. And Shadow Shaman is literally a disable hero. Like, this is what's happening. Like, every single fight is a fight happening with one of your cores who is aggressive enough to farm somewhere in a dangerous place, but you're never willing to do that because you're scared of feeding. So you're never there to start the fight with a hex or a stun. So you're always walking slowly at 330 movement speed to the fight, and at this point they all have BKBs and crap. You don't even have a Blink Dagger. So there's literally no way that you can impact the team fights now with the items you have, because you just simply can't get in there without them orchiding you or popping their BKBs. You're just kind of worthless at this point in the fights. You accomplish very, very little. I think that Bloodseeker has ruptured himself. So I think this is like one of the first cases where I feel like a Shadow Shaman had a good laning stage, enough where I don't need to comment about it. And after the laning stage, you didn't transition. Just nuke the hell out of this guy. You should be using nothing but nukes. Just kill him as fast as you can. Alright, now you're actually just screwed. You're not using Aethershock enough, just throw it out right at the start of every fight. Again, same thing, you're committed to the fight, you can't get out because you've been slowed or you don't have Blink Dagger, or etc. You helped a little bit more in that fight, but still, your impact is still very weak. Anti-Mage Ags is certainly a problem. If you had a Force Staff or like a... I guess Aethershock is a decent way to stop this. This is good, you're being careful. I would swap out the TP for your Windlace right now. This is good, the way you're playing this is good.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I feel like I can sum up what you did in the last like 25 minutes with like planted wards, walked to where the fight was, did your best, and planted more wards. But you're not actually accomplishing anything aggressive.
Invisibility.
Same kind of thing here. If you guys are leaving the base, you might as well smoke. Now it's way too late to smoke now. Like you're basically using smoke as an initiation tool. Man, that anti-mage X actually wrecks Shadow Shaman so hard. So you just hex yourself. That's so good. You basically have to Aethershock him to break it, and then you have to use hex afterwards. I feel like you guys might lose this game. Anyways, I don't think it's worth watching it anymore. I'm actually just going to exit out of this, and we'll go to the next one really quick. We'll take a look at the end game screen. Looks like they actually did win. This shouldn't happen. You guys were stupidly far ahead. If we look at the graphs, for example, like look at this advantage. You guys have 15k net worth gold, but every fight afterwards just got so weak. Partially because I'm sure itemization, but yeah, like these items are pretty shit. They don't really accomplish anything. His GPM was stupidly low and needed to be higher. This guy also had a really low GPM. Something like Shiva's would have been good, or he actually needed a Yule Scepter. That way when he gets Orchided, he can just remove it. This guy's items were relatively okay, but his GPM was probably too low. Yeah, 400. Pretty much everybody farmed slow except for the Meepo. You guys actually all farmed incredibly slow except for Meepo. And that's because you guys are playing way too defensive. You're scared to like push lanes and stuff, and your itemization just doesn't facilitate anything good. The pipe only helped for like 10 minutes tops, and late game is just worthless compared to their better mobility and BKBs and stuff like that. If we look at your net worth, I'm sure you're at the bottom. Yeah, you're just pretty much always at the bottom no matter what. That should not be the case. It doesn't matter if you're... Oh, actually, that's Pugna. You're orange. It's pretty much still at the bottom. Like, see how you just flatline at the end here? That's because the items that you bought don't help you scale late game, because you didn't get an item that helps you not die. Like, Pipe does not help you not die against a storm that has double your net worth. A Ghost Scepter does, because then he can't attack you for 4 seconds. But things like Pipe, Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, they help you for like 20 minutes kind of, usually, except for like Glimmer is arguably really good. But things like Force against Storm can help because it'll force him to use more mana to chase you. But once he gets enough mana, that doesn't matter. So you need like items that help you control the game, and Pipe is not that, unless you finish the game at like 35 minutes. Yeah, if you guys just ended the game right here when you had Pipe, you could have won. But if it goes anything past that, it's just not good. It's just not useful in the slightest. It'd be so much better for you to have actual utility items, or even a BKB of your own could have worked as well, to be honest. So your itemization needs to fix. Your laning stage, your first 7 minutes was great, but the last 3 minutes of your 10 minutes was really bad. You went to the top lane, you didn't accomplish anything. You needed to push more. So let's take a look at the last replay. I think you have lots of potential. It seems like you definitely are learning about stuff, but your warding needs a lot of work, and you waste a lot of time as well. You are lying this game, so should be semi... Okay, I was like, where's the line? Should be semi-similar in terms of things to work on, just mostly focusing on getting disables. I'm sorry, getting your Blink Dagger at a reasonable time, and then... Okay, player perspective. Getting your blink at a reasonable time and then transitioning that into ganks. If you are not doing that, then you're not playing Lion and Shadow Shaman correct. You'd be better off playing a hero like Ogre, to be honest, than the way that you're playing right now. Because if you're playing those heroes, at least you're kind of sitting, like, heroes like Ogre, they sit behind their allies and they get shit done. But the way that you're playing your hero is not as good. I think a Mango is actually not very needed on Lion. I think it's a mistake. It does give you passive HP, it does give you mana burst, but you don't really need that much mana burst. You've got mana drain. I would prefer that this is a clarity potion, to be honest, and you save the difference of money. I think this is kind of just a waste. Or you got a iron, what's the word? I don't think you have enough money because Mango's what, 120 now, I think? Something like that. 110. I would prefer something like a Ring of Protection. That way the damage you do take is reduced, and it gives you a faster Tranquil Boots if you have a good early game. I don't know why you send base so long as well. I think you should have gotten out of base faster to put an Observer Ward down. This is pretty good so far. I would still like a lane ward. And I think you should have used your nuke by now. Put the ward down, that way you can always see where the jug is and just right click the shit out of him. No stun. No stun. Alright, you guys 100% kill this guy. Oh, you super fucked up. Okay, problem number 1. This guy got his crit because he's a dumbass. Problem 1. Problem 2. When you're chasing him, this is good. I liked your positioning a lot. But at this point, when your Earth Spike's only 3 seconds away from cooldown, what you need to do is stay with him, not right-click him again. By right-clicking him here, you basically chance that this wasn't going to hit. And as soon as you stunned him here, you needed to right-click instantly. It actually wasn't enough, but if you had right-clicked him here, you might have only had to move like an inch to right-click him again as he's about to fog. And to try to juke here, he was just faster than you, so you end up getting outplayed. Luckily, he never hit you once, so he doesn't get first blood gold. But, I mean, problem number 1 is that this guy didn't have Wraithfire Blast, but you also missed micro just slightly. I probably would have TP'd back to base in this case, because now you have like 25 seconds that you're just not in lane. With that said, by getting the pull off, I think that solves basically all the problems. Connecting the pull is A+ here. Alright, that's amazing. I would have grabbed the money right there as soon as you finish the connect. I don't know if you ever do grab it or not, but you definitely should have grabbed it. I am okay that you got Hex here. With that said though, I think you maybe should have stayed in lane and actually tried to mess with the jug, because now you're basically spending all of your time to try to get a large neutral creep. Instead, you could help this guy actually just get farm, because he can't farm now because he bought stupid items, and the jug has better regen and better items. So instead of, like, look at this, you actually just spent so long trying to kill this this Wildkin. Okay, you got level 3 out of it, that's cool and all. Alright, now you super fucked up. You don't get mana drain here, you get 2 points in Earth Spike. You've got full mana, you've got a Mango. Draining this guy's mana is actually not going to beat him that bad. Okay, yeah, he won't be able to cast both spells. Oh, ooh, that was very close. You actually almost killed your friend here. But then the next issue is that you only have 1 point in Earth Spike, so your Earth Spike is just awful, because it only stuns for 1 second and does 80 damage. Instead, you could have 2 points in Earth Spike and just have better advantage over him just by laning. But instead, here you are, draining mana. Like, it's okay. It's okay. But it'd be so much better if your nuke just did damage. Like, killing him is so much better than, like, making him less able to spin. Like, that is a really mediocre way to solve the problem. And you lost, like, 2 tangles worth of HP just killing the large creep instead. You should have just gotten over here as soon as the pull was connected and you grabbed the bounty rune. Just get over here and, like, try to kill this guy. Because once this guy has his stun, you can actually kill him. Especially if you chain disable him before he gets spin off. And because you have Earth Spike and Hex and his stun, that's literally 3.1 plus 2. That's 5.1 seconds of stun. So you could get this guy's HP to like 30% before he even gets his spin off, and you might be able to chase him down and still kill him. But instead, because of him getting the experience and AoE gold of you dying, and then you getting to the lane late, he's basically just gotten free levels. And because of that, now he's above you guys in levels, and he just wins the lane. So you guys basically got beat by a soul off lane. That shouldn't win it, especially with the dual lane that your guys' dual lane is really strong. Line sinking is not bad, but you needed more impact here. You finally put your Observer Ward down, but this could have been down earlier. Just put it down here so you know where he is at all points. Putting the ward here only spots ganks that sit in the jungle before they gank the safe lane. It would have been better if it was sitting here. Like, I assume you're going to drain his mana here. If you're not, you're making a mistake at this point. Like, Why ping right clicks? Like, if this ward was just in the lane, for example, you would see where he is right now, but you just don't know because your ward doesn't cover that. Your ward only covers where you're standing, which is a waste. If nobody's here, this ward's kind of okay. If there's like a roaming Pudge or something, this is a good ward. But other than that, this ward is not good. Like, we actually have no idea where this guy is. He's actually over here jungling, but you don't know that. And so you're just standing here in case he comes back. But if you had the ward in the lane, you would have known that. Oh, hey, the line, he left the lane. You could have pulled here, for example. Looks like you did a side pull. This is relatively okay. Looks like you'll grab Bounty Rune, which is good. You were fairly efficient about that. Oh, hey, there's that guy. Just, that was dangerous. I think you should have probably hexed, I feel. This guy was pretty low. If you just ran straight at him here, you can hex from here. I didn't know if he had mana when I first looked, which is why I criticized, but like stunning was so dangerous, you could have just easily missed. Whereas hex would have guaranteed that he gets disabled. Anyways, he does eventually die, which is good. This is what you guys should have done repeatedly. He probably should have died like 5 times or something insane. Now you're buying your tranquils, which is good. I would consider... Nope, pull here is great. This is solid. You're pretty good at pulling, honestly. Like, you do remember to pull. I'm fairly content with how often you do that. Fortunately, the jug... Oh. Ooh, that was unfortunate. Let's watch that again. That's a good try. Yeah, I was gonna... See, you have the mana?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's not looking good. Alright, you're good. He died. Alright, you are in base, you're buying some things, that's good. I would consider ganking somewhere right now. I would consider going mid. Most of the time you aren't supposed to TP to go to lane once you respawn as a support, but when you're playing an aggressive support, like line, I think it's worth it. Because you're basically waiting too long to go get things done. Whereas if you TP'd, you'd have this ward down already. Like, all you lose by TPing is you lose the ability to teleport for 70 seconds, and you lose 50 gold. That's all you're losing. But you're gaining like 30 seconds. Like, let's count how long it took for you to get here. And I think this is one of the things that costs you a lot of time. So it's basically like 750, 745, we'll say. Alright, so basically you lost 30 seconds. You exchange 30 seconds for the ability to TP support. But if you look at their heroes, they're not going to gank early, probably. If you're like a Shadow Demon and a Dazzle, yeah, you can't TP to lane. It's dangerous. But if you're playing line, who gives a shit? TP to the shrine, walk over here, put the ward down, you save like at least 20 seconds. And then after you put the ward down, you can roam over here and see if you can get a kill or something. That would be an option instead. You should be hexing the Slark, not the Enigma. Alright, you made a huge mistake here. Like, it's 7:45, keep in mind, you were in your base, you could have been doing something. But instead you ran all the way down here. It's been almost a full minute. In 1 full minute, you basically walked from the base to where you are now. And again, let's look at how you initiated. Like, the Slark was definitely the right target. I get that you saw the Enigma or whatever. But if Tiny's being ganked like this, if Tiny's getting kind of slow, I think you should have backed him up first. And now because you've been a little inefficient with your time and your levels and stuff, you're not even 6 here. Whereas if you're 6, you could have had a double kill probably. So it's just getting a little bit worse. And you buy another TP, which is fine, but goddamn, use the TP to get somewhere. Go, like, you could TP to mid right now where there's nobody and get levels. Or you could TP to the top lane and do something. But instead, here you are again, walking across the whole map. And again, you only TP if something's hitting the fan. Make the fan hit for them is what you should be doing. You're only ever reacting, but if you go in first, you will probably have an advantage. This guy's about to die to an Omni Slash. Like, this is what's happening. You're out of lane so much because you're never teleporting, and you're being inefficient with your movements sometimes. So you're just always behind. You're always not there at the right time. You probably feels like you're just never where you should be, and that's because you're never creating opportunities. And because you're always walking, you're never TPing to get places faster. Whereas if you had just TP'd down here, placed the ward, rotated over, you could be there at the start of Disruptor and Slark dying, instead of being there like 30 seconds too late and not being able to save your Tiny and also dying, which happened because you got there late. And now you're top. You TP to the top lane, wasted 50 gold, and now you're running over here, what, to put a ward down? Stay in this lane, bro. That's level 6. And now you're scared because you're like, oh, Jug could be over here, but he Omni Slashed already. Now you see him in the creep wave. But again, that's levels. That's experience you could have had. And now, like, This is the latest 6 ever. Like, you should never not be 6 by 10. If you're playing Lion and Shadow Shaman, your 6 needs to come really fast, especially the Lion. Because once you hit 6, you get 600 magic damage, you buy smoke, you go somewhere and someone dies. And you get a kill. Like, this has been a dueling the whole game. You could have just came there anytime in the last 4 minutes and, like, popped a smoke and crossed into the trees and, like, set up a gank or something. But I'm pretty sure this is the first time you've been greedy about levels the whole game. You should try to get more of these last hits. You should have gotten at least 3 of the 4, not just 2. Like, you just get 6, but it's almost 11 minutes. Like, this is way overkill, like, way late. If you just killed Jug, like, twice in your lane, and gotten, like, 1 good roam, and a couple decent pulls like you did, you'd be 6 at 8, and you'd get a kill with that, and then you'd be a level up, and then your opponents would be a level behind, and, like everything would change so much. But you're just never the aggressor, you're never setting things up, you're just always reacting. Your laning is good, but your time efficiency after the first 7 minutes is really bad. And that's what's pulling your MMR down, and why your MMR is not going up. So this is like the first time that I've seen you actually like do something surprising, kind of. Like right now what you should be doing is crossing over here and getting in the jungle. They do have a ward here, but your movement here is good because you're basically waiting to see if somebody will come. And that would have been a great time to go on the Disruptor. As soon as he sees you, it's like, you gotta go in. Alright, this is 100% a kill. Stun, stun, stun. You're a little late there. Finger, finger. You super fucked up. He dodged that because he went invis at the perfect time, I think. You should have stunned right now. Like, you stunned as he was becoming unstunned. If this guy's Dark Pact was on cooldown, he might have been able to get that off in time. And you should have fingered right now. Another thing that some people really forget about is they think like, oh, I shouldn't ult him because I don't think he's going to die. But that's exactly what the Lich is thinking. But if you would have just stunned him and instantly ultied, he would be at like 100 HP and the Lich might throw his ult because he'd be like, oh, hey, I can actually kill him now. Tiny uses skills. Lich is not going to solo Chain Frost somebody like this. But if you use Finger of Death instantly and he's got 100 HP left over, yeah, this actually hit him, but he had 14 HP left. So if this guy just used his ulti, that would have been a dead hero. But he didn't want to do that because he knew that Chain Frost only does like 280 damage. So he knew it wasn't worth it. So just throw your ulti next time. Because not getting a kill with your ulti is a huge loss. It actually affects a lot. This is kind of okay to be slapping towers, but kind of bad. I feel like the mango hasn't really done anything for you all game. And it's now worthless, kind of, now that you have Tranquil Boots too. Now you can't really set up a kill here because you don't have ulti. And so what you should have done, and I think you felt it out here, is that you sat there, but everybody kind of left. And the reason they left is because it's not really safe to be there anymore. And you're also missing mana, so you can't even get a kill anyways. So once your ultimate's gone, like, you're not going to kill Slark. So what you should have done instead was instantly gone somewhere else with the Tiny, where they're not going to expect you. Whereas they do expect you bottom, it's likely they're going to show up with like 3 or 4 heroes. So instead you should group up with your other ganking ally, like Tiny, and actually go somewhere to get a kill. Like, that would have been a great time if you had a smoke to pop a smoke, like roam over this way and approach and try to gank the mid lane. You're also in a terrible position to do anything right now. You're not going to get any kill here. Like, if this guy gets gone on, you're going to have to run from here to kill. If they get gone on bottom, you're going to TP bottom and try to react with one spell. But if you're going to gank mid, what you should have done this whole time is just run around. Like, run around and approach from the back in an angle that'll actually let you set up on the sniper. Then he dies. But you standing right here doesn't do shit. Now you're running all the way to the bottom. It's the same thing. You're not being proactive. You're always being reactive to what's happening. But go somewhere and set up a gank. That's what you need to do. Still missing mana here. So it would have been decent for you to go over to the neutral probably and suck some mana. Yeah, you've got ulti in 40. But it's basically the same problem here. It's very unlikely the Slark actually dies here. Still missing mana because you basically just didn't get mana ever since that last fight. And now you're slowly trying to catch up when instead you could have just ran back and healed and then gone somewhere else to get a kill. But you're not being proactive. Honestly, if you're playing like this, if your ganking is weak, Lion is not the hero to play. He's 100% not the hero. The heroes you should play are like, I don't know, like Witch Doctor, Lich, Dazzle, like Oracle maybe would be good for you. Winter Wyvern could work fine. But like all these heroes you're playing, like Shadow Shaman and Lion, are aggressive, like getting kills heroes. Ogre Magi would work defensively fairly well. But maybe AA, but you're not really playing aggressively. You're not setting things up. And you need to figure out how to do that because it's absolutely what's killing you here. Like, we're 15 minutes and we've gotten 1 level since we hit level 6. And we still don't have mana. We're still missing mana. Eat your mango, mana drain a neutral creep. Like, just do it on a neutral creep. I don't know why you're focusing so much on heroes, but like, you don't even have mana to do your combo is the issue. You can mana drain this Wildkin right now and get 100 mana. But you're just not doing it. You do that 2 times, you've got it. Mango? You could have mangoed here. If you would have mangoed, you might have killed him. In fact, if you had done the mana drain on the Wildkin earlier, it's very, very likely. Very likely that you could have just killed the Slark. But you just don't have the mana. Like, there's no reason to hold this so long. Eat it if you need to get a kill. If you need a stun, eat the mango. You're also so far from Blink. You should be at like 1500 gold right now at least. But because you've been inefficient and you haven't really set up a kill, like you're 0, 3, and 1 right now. That's atrocious stats. It means you've done almost nothing.
I'll take that as tribute.
This ward is better on Dire, so I'm okay with this. Like this, what you're doing right now is good. You're like setting up a kill. I think what would have been the better move. Okay, let's see how you should have done this differently. Alright, you're approaching. Sniper is really low. Oh, there he is. He's running away. Running this way is the wrong move, because Sniper's probably on his way back. I would either have ran this way, put a ward down here to see if he's there, and then try to Finger of Death him. Yeah, so let's go to free camera really quick. Honestly, you could have been here, you could have been here, ward down, you see him finger. You could have killed this guy, if you had gone for it. Or, if you're instead saying, okay, he's probably gone, let's go for this Disruptor instead. The way you went was the wrong way. You ran over here, and then you ran up this way to go on him. When instead you should wrap around this way. If this sniper is gone, which you should assume, run this way. And then just run straight up. Just ping. Like, do you see the pathing there? You ran up here, and then you're like, nope, this way, nope, this way, nope, this way. And then you approached. And then you hex. Whereas instead, if you just ran up, you could have disabled him when he was on top of this. This guy could have rolled in and done like 2 hits with Jingu Mastery and like pretty much blown him up. And you could have ultied afterwards, probably, if you ate the mango. You could have like stun ultied. But instead you're initiating with Hex. Like, this is a perfect time where you use Earth Spike because you want him to not move. If you use Hex, he's still moving. But if you use Earth Spike, he stops moving. He gets hit by this guy at least like twice. And you can ulti and maybe even kill him. So like you're not using your spells at the right time. Like, Lion is not an easy hero by any means. He's a very difficult hero. Lion and Shadow Shaman, they're not easy. I would say Shadow Shaman's definitely easier than Lion, but Lion is certainly not an easy hero. You're mistiming your spells, and you're not moving and ganking correctly. I think you could have ultied that, pretty sure. Let me see. Maybe. I think you could have gotten it off, but he may have dodged it. It's hard to say. Still haven't used your mango. You've only got 600 gold. Like this, and now you're in this trap now where you're like basically supports have this like 15-minute period where pretty much no matter what, their opponents don't have Shadow Blades or easy ways to kill them, like an Orchid or a Shadow Blade or something like that. But because your early to mid game is so weak, like your laning stage is pretty good. Stuff definitely a lot better in the Shadow Shaman game, but it's pretty good. And then your early mid game, your 8 to 16 minute, because that period of time is so bad for you, you're now at this 18-minute period where you're not even close to Blink Dagger. And you're not close to Force, you're not close to Glimmer, you're not close to Ghost Scepter. And because of that, now your opponents have items that mean that you're just going to die. He's just going to Shadow Blade, he's going to slap you like twice, he's going to use Dark Pact, and he's going to kill you every time. And this guy's going to jump on you and Omni Slash you. You literally don't have a solution because of that weak mid game. And then you just are playing 5, so you're only buying wards and stuff. When what should happen is your Lich should be buying wards. Because this guy is relatively okay without farm. Yeah, he would love to have a mech or whatever, but he should be buying wards because you need to get a Blink Dagger so that your hero can be better and so that you can actually set up ganks. So that when you do start a fight, you can do a Blink Hex and chain stun Slark no matter what, instead of having to rely on like Tiny rolling in and doing Avalanche Toss, or like Monkey King jumping down and landing Boundless Strike before he casts literally either Dark Pact or his ultimate. But none of those are going to happen. Like, you're not going to be able to initiate properly, and you're always just going to repeatedly die to Slark. Like, you've already had really bad contribution to the game. You have 7 last hits, 3 deaths, and 1 assist. You've only been there for 1 kill, and everything else has been you just standing near dead creeps, pretty much, and getting some pulls. But even the pulls, you didn't connect very, or you didn't last hit very much. Like, consistently, you're just kind of standing there. But you need to get something done. If you had a smoke right now, you could pop a smoke, wrap around, oh, here's Sniper. You'll initiate with a Hex. The Lich will come forward, use both Frost Blast and Chain Frost, and you will just, like, stun, ulti him after the Hex runs out, and this guy dies. But instead, what's happening? You guys are just staring across the river at him, being like, oh, time to react again. And you react, and you're here, but it's like everything is just so delayed. This would be a really good time to have a Blink Dagger, of course. You should be running straight at Enigma. Not the position you were... It's a pretty big mistake by you. Should I hex this guy instantly? And finger? Finger, finger, finger. Okay. That was pretty good. I like how you reacted to that. You're probably going to die here. Although you should know where he is. Oh. This guy hits really hard. Okay. Oh, well. That was good. You should have reacted to that. He doesn't have a Shadow Blade, so you should have seen him coming. Oh, no, Tiny. Tiny, no. I'm gonna put that one slightly on Wraith King, but... It's a dead hero. What you been up to? Oh, you respawn, you TP back down, still no Blink Dagger. You could have gone mid, pushed this out for gold, for example. Like, you're just never being greedy either, and you need to be more greedy to guarantee your items. So, I think this pretty much covers it. Yeah, your early mid game, your 8 to 15 minute mark needs a lot of work, and your late game needs a lot of work. Those are the parts where you're really lacking as of support. But as a whole, be more efficient, be a little bit more greedy, play your hero's playstyle. Don't play 5 every game. That's super important. Playing the roles as you think they are supposed to be played, by like only being the one to always buy wards, that's not the right thing to do. You have to adjust slightly around how your hero is going to be strong. And delaying your power curve is really bad for you this game, because you're just going to stay weak. Because the Slark is just going to repeatedly kill you, and every initiation is painstaking, because it's always you walking forward, just like your Shadow Shaman game. So... thank you for signing up, or at least thanks to your friend for signing you up. Hopefully you will learn from this. I'm going to keep this one private, I think, since you were not the one that signed up. But either way, thanks guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you later. Bye.